Welcome back to Leicester, the Mattoli Arena, playing host, of course, to the BetVictor Championship League. And it's day one of Group 3, and what a group. We've got some of the biggest names in the sport involved today. We're about to see the biggest, Ronnie O'Sullivan. There's the table as it stands. Ali Carter, 3-0 winner in his match against Robert Milkins, and 3-1, as we've just seen. Selby looking really good against Karen Wilson. So, coming up, Ronnie O'Sullivan is here, and he's going to be taking on Chris Wakelin, who, of course, he's playing. I mean, certainly Chris knows the conditions here because he's playing his 5th day, his 3rd group of Championship League Snooker. O'Sullivan just having a little knock backstage, but good to see him here, of course, and I'm sure a lot of people tuning in to watch him. Jack Jones and Robert Milkins, the other players in the group. Milkins already played. Jack Jones just getting underway against Ali Carter. In fact, Carter's won the first, so he's won 4 out of 4 there. Bearing in mind, Ryan Day, Mr. Yellow, yesterday to basically knock him out of the event. It's amazing that one shot has sort of transformed his fortunes almost. Chris just waiting for Ronnie O'Sullivan to arrive, and be interested to see what sort of form Ronnie's in. Chris just checking whatever he's checking on his phone. A bit early for the league table. Yeah, no doubt watching Table 2 on the Matchroom Multisport YouTube channel. Dominic alongside me. There's always something different and special, Dom, when Ronnie arrives, isn't there?
There really is. I mean, when I was a young player, you know, used to admire and love to watch people like Alex Higgins and Jimmy White. And of course, in the modern game, we've got Ronnie O'Sullivan, who's 7 times world champion, done everything there is in the game. The modern era is a wonderful player to watch, and it's not often in any sport, is it, where the greatest performer in your sport happens to be one of the most watchable, and Ronnie O'Sullivan certainly is.
49 years of age, plays a young man's game. He's got the shortest, quickest average shot time on tour this season, just under 17 seconds. John Pellew, the referee, just affixing a logo. O'Sullivan, I mean, we hold him to high standards. He holds himself to high standards. He's not had the best season, really. He's not won a tournament, which I guess for him is a surprise. Not actually been in a final. Best in a ranking event, semis of the Xi'an Grand Prix in China. That was early season. So, of course, he's defending champion at the Masters next week, looking for a record-extending 9th title. He plays John Higgins on the opening afternoon, Sunday. I'm sure he's looking forward to a couple of days. Good match practice here against quite a few players who will be in that tournament, Chris Wakelin included. Of the 7 players in the group, 5 are in the Masters next week. Wakelin, of course, making his debut. He has beaten O'Sullivan at the English Open 2016.
Not a lot really for Chris to go at here. You can only see a couple of balls. Mistake already, but it's always difficult when you play Ronnie O'Sullivan. He can be very intimidating. Not so much perhaps in the first frame because you haven't seen what he's capable of, but when Ronnie starts knocking in big breaks against you, it can be very tough to play against. He'll be very relaxed here, no ranking points at stake, but it's a real good match sharpener for the Masters, which begins, of course, on Sunday.
I think it's a good sign if you're a Ronnie O'Sullivan fan that, you know, he's come here today, doesn't have to come, but he's trying to tune up. That's not gone as planned, though, that first shot.
And Ronnie, like all the other players in this group, will be taking this very seriously, because I can promise you that if you don't take something seriously and you just play in no other haphazard fashion, you can easily develop little faults in your technique.
Yeah, and he has to, doesn't he? Because look at the other players in this group. You know, you don't want to... You want always looking for an edge, and you don't want to give any of your rivals an opportunity to get one over on you, because it could, down the line, give them confidence next time they play you. You know, if they completely outplay you, even in a small event. Yeah, got there. Plays 4 matches today. Got to Karen Wilson after this one. Mark Selby later. Jack Jones last on. And Wakelin, of course, has played a lot of matches already. to say the least, in this event. So 4 good solid days for him. Finished 5th in Group 1 and was semi-final loser last night in Group 2.
One.
Super red from Chris, but unfortunately he's played the cue ball so tightly to the baulk cushion. I don't think this pink will cut in. Well, he's had a look at it. If it does cut in, it's exceptionally thin, but I think he's decided against it.
Chris Wakelin, 1.
Yeah, playing John Higgins on Sunday. That's 30 years on from when he beat John in the final to win the Masters for the first time, 95, when they were both just 19.
That's a mistake from Chris Wakelin. He'd be disappointed that red's found the jaws of the corner. Once again, though, Ron has been unfortunate. That was a disastrous kiss from cue ball to red. Not where the cue ball's finished. Now, can he roll up to a colour, or will he just screw back to the baulk cushion? No attempt at the yellow.
Ronnie O'Sullivan,
Early days,
1.
of course, but just look at the way the reds are positioned around the table now, so one mistake could be very costly.
Yeah, 2 reds he's potted and both times didn't land on a colour.
Good for us as commentators as well, Dave, isn't it? Just to, it's a bit of a marker, isn't it, to see what sort of form some of these top players are in ahead of the Masters.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with Wakelin, what's been interesting is how he's improved as the 4 days have gone on, as he misses that one. I mean, the first 2 matches he played in Group 1, you know, he looked very rusty, but just the fact he managed to stay in that group, played a lot better in the last group, albeit CJ beat him 3-2 in the semis, but just look sharper, and maybe he'll get sharper and sharper leading into next week. That was a chance. So Sullivan's been out in Asia doing exhibitions over the Christmas period in Macau and China, so he's only just got back. He has been playing, but it's not the same as matches, is it, that are meaningful?
Well, played it in a confident fashion. The drag shot for the black to opposite corner was a positive shot to play, but it's gone wrong and it could be very costly now. The reason I say that is that because there are reds all over the place, even if you're not on your intended next red, chances are you'll be on another. The one that's closest to the black Should be Ronnie's next intended red, because that would open up the black spot area, and he'd love to get that yellow back on its spot. Players tend to hate it when the bulk colours are down this end of the table. But he is a little short of pace there, Ronnie. Cuba will be cannoning other balls here.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 7.
Yeah, and you can see he's a bit disappointed, but this is where Wakelin has got to recognise that there's an early opportunity here, and these matches are short, of course. O'Sullivan is a little rusty early on. He has to try and take advantage.
1.
Someone who's not rusty is Ali Carter. He's already 2-0 to the good against Jack Jones, having beaten Milkins 3-0 earlier.
Three. Four.
Considering where these pockets are, they're a little bit forgiving, more so than the star tables. I'll be playing for the red along the cushion here. Chris has decided to stun out for one of the reds above the black spot. This is a great chance for him, and he needs to take it as well, just to put pressure on Ronnie O'Sullivan. Whenever you're playing the top players, if you don't put them under pressure, they can walk all over you. Of course, we tend to forget that Chris Wakelin is a top player himself. Certainly justified being a top player with the performances this season.
19.
Believes that he can beat anybody, and he's proved it.
20.
Yes, there's no reason to be overawed. I guess maybe even sort of 2 or 3 years ago it would be more of a case to be, but he's a top player himself, and everyone knows that. Everyone's seen his results. You could argue he's had a better season really than O'Sullivan. He's been in a big final in China.
25.
In terms of what he's wanted to achieve from it, compared to Ronnie, who obviously wants to be winning tournaments again.
26. 33. 34.
Played that with a lot of top and left-hand side on the cue ball, which can
41.
just push the cue ball off its true course a little, that side spin, and it nearly caused the error.
42.
If he plays the red near the centre pocket, be a certainty to win this frame. That's what he's done. It's a couple
49.
more pots away now from winning this opening frame.
50.
Yeah, I think it's important that he took this chance. O'Sullivan had a couple, but you could see he was annoyed when he missed when he was in there, and that's where you have to pick up the signs.
55.
It's a game played on the table, but it's also a game played between the ears, psychological as well. You have to show an opponent that you're going to punish if a mistake comes. And that's what he's done here. That was frame ball.
56.
saw 2 century breaks from the cue of Mark Selby in the first match.
63.
Enough on here for Chris Wakelin to make one of his own. Oh, it's just gone wrong.
You had to say that, didn't you? But anyway, he's won the frame with a solid break. He leads Ronnie O'Sullivan 1-0. Ronnie O'Sullivan is in the house, but he's in that seat and was for much of the first frame. Chris Wakelin taking advantage when he missed.
Second frame.
So it's only 1-0, but it's a short match, of course, best of 5. If you're tuning in, maybe as a Ronnie fan who hasn't sort of been following the Championship League, this is Group 3. There's 7 groups. The winner of each goes through to final winners group, first week of February. And the winner of that gets in the Championship League. And it is a league. They each play each other. Top 4 in the table contest the playoffs tomorrow night to find that group winner, 2 semis and a final. Oh, that little knuckle. He's left this red cuttable. I think it would have been anyway.
One.
Just a couple of potable loose reds to play for. Does have an angle on the black. He can't really screw into the meat of the pack of the reds, but he could probably clip a few of the outside ones and bring a couple more into play. Not sure Chris intended to go around the houses to come down the table for a red again, but I don't think it's finished too badly.
8. Nine.
The previous frame, Dave spoke about the sort of season that Ronnie O'Sullivan has had. He's still 18th on the seasonal points, but that's low for him. Chris Wakelin, though, is 10th on the season points so far, so he's having a better season for Ronnie O'Sullivan by a long way.
Well, at least he's not left O'Sullivan in missing that. The thing is, though, we do hold different players to different standards. You know, if Ronnie's not winning tournaments, then it's seen as not being successful. It's not as easy as just turning up and winning, clearly. But the fact is he hasn't won a title since Riyadh last season, the invitation event. Last final, the Tour Championship at the end of last season, just before the Crucible, where Mark Williams beat him.
Very awkward now to play the cue ball into bulk because of the two potentially possible reds to either centre pocket. Chris Wakelin was fortunate there. That red would have been very potable. That cue ball not finished in front of the yellow the way it did. That's a decent reply from Ronnie O'Sullivan. It's a good safety from where he was. That's better than that. It's a great safety.
Touching ball. One.
Disappointed Chris Wakelin to have left that red to the left centre. Again, positional error from Ronnie. He's not happy. Green is covering the only possible red to the left corner, so
7.
you can chip another red into the same left corner, the one that's just detached from the main bunch. Oh, Ronnie thought that red would pass as well, but it didn't.
Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Very indifferent
7.
start. Ronnie O'Sullivan.
To be honest, he's looked like a lot of players coming into this event rusty. What I'll say Wakelin did in Group 1. The benefit he's got is this is the 5th day he's played. Although Mark Selby didn't look very rusty, did he? He made 2 centuries against Karen Wilson.
Well, ever since Ronnie walked out to play this match, he's been looking at his tip as though there's something that he's not happy with.
Was a clear opportunity for Wakelin here, he must recognise that. Sullivan yet to really get going.
5. Six.
Good strike of the cue ball there. Even a shot like that will give Chris Wakelin confidence, because he could not have struck that any better. Just having a look to see if he can pot the pink and run through into the pack of reds to develop a few. Problem is with a shot like this, the more pace that you play it with, the wider the cue ball will go from the pink, and he may just clip the reds rather than run into them, and that's what's happened. He's on nothing.
Twelve.
Trying the double.
Chris Wakelin, 12.
You can already see though, O'Sullivan, you know, he's playing properly, he's businesslike, he's here for proper practice first and foremost, and don't get that sort of whacking the balls about, so he's playing the proper safety, being patient. Wakelin caught that a little thick, but no real damage done.
Chris just having a look, see if he can get through to the red below the black to take it on, but he can't quite get through there. This will displease him. How on earth has he left the red so close to the corner pocket? But that cannon on the yellow has come to his aid.
One.
Well, although the cannon on the yellow prohibited from Ronnie O'Sullivan playing the easier pot to the left corner, he knocked a very good one in anyway to the right corner. So good opportunity now for Ronnie. Black is accessible, but you'll need an angle soon on the colour to go into the reds.
Six. Seven.
Well, that was exactly as played. It will mean something to Ronnie to score well from here, because he's
14.
done very little in the match so far.
15.
1,279 centuries suggests that he'll be scoring at some point. No. He's left himself a pot, but he's sort of missed a
22.
few from distance already. Not that one though.
23.
No, that'll make him feel better.
Can't see any way though that he can get into the reds, so if he wants to continue the break, I think the only way he can do is by playing the difficult red near the right side cushion.
$26. 27.
Surely that red directly above the black at the bottom of that little group doesn't pot to the right corner, does it? No.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 27.
That's not the worst kiss in the world. Can Chris see these reds? The problem is, though, he'll be bringing them into play. He needs to be careful something doesn't find its way near a pocket.
Well, it's well and truly opened the frame up, but he has left a potential long red here. Not close. It's kind of an interesting dynamic. I think O'Sullivan is trying to find something here. You know, first match of the new year. And I think Wakelin, because he's seeing O'Sullivan not at his best yet, he's sort of maybe a bit anxious to think, right, I've really got to take advantage. So it's kind of an interesting feel to the match, I think.
Well, there's a chance of a double here. It's as easy a double as you'll ever see. It's still gone awry. A great chance now for Chris Wakelin. Albeit that black is a little awkward, and although I think he'll be playing for it, he'll need some attention.
One.
Yeah, I think these pockets, you know, played on the generous side from what we've seen. So you certainly fancy him to get this. The double, I mean, the man O'Sullivan's playing the Masters, John Higgins, he doesn't seem to miss doubles, John.
Hey.
That clearance he made against Mark Allen, it started with a double. Crucible.
9.
I like Chris's
16.
tempo as well. He's just playing at his normal speed and rhythm. Just when you have a long career
17.
as a sports person, not just a snooker player, body language is something that you're always picking up on. You can always tell when your opponent isn't feeling at their best or giving you too much respect.
24.
Yeah, you can't afford to lie down or have too much respect, as you say. You're there to do a job yourself.
25.
And that's the thing about snooker, you know, if you play Novak Djokovic at tennis, he's hitting the ball back across the net, arguably the greatest ever. In snooker, the greatest ever is in his seat now. He can't affect what's happening in this frame other than just his sheer presence. I think it is different when there's an audience. Obviously, they tend to support him. But Wakelin,
31.
golden chance to make it 2-0.
$32.
Just this yellow required then to extend his lead to 2-0.
38.
It's only a best of 5. He's within a frame of victory, but a lot of the players, Ronnie especially, can reel off 3 frames in no time at all. Chris Wakelin will certainly be aware of that.
40.
Well, he's had chances, O'Sullivan, but it's all been bits and pieces from him. And that green removes any doubt. So great start for Wakelin. Just to say, by the way, an even better start for Ali Carter. He's beaten Jack Jones 3-0 off the back of the 3-0 win over Milkins. So
47.
perfect start for the captain, who, as I say, only just survived yesterday. Ryan Day had a great chance to beat him. Didn't happen. And the ranking event winner is going well in the invitation version of the Championship League.
52.
Another half century for Wakelin.
$58.
Yeah, 58 to the pink. Chris Wakelin leads Ronnie O'Sullivan here in Leicester by 2 frames to 0. So here at the Mattoli Arena, a lot of interest, of course, in Ronnie O'Sullivan's arrival at the Championship League. Not going so well so far. He's 2-0 down. Has had a few chances.
Third frame.
Yet to really
Ronnie
hit his
O'Sullivan
stride. There's still time, but he's going to have to start in this frame. Chris Wakelin leads 2-0. Just to reiterate, Ali Carter's won his first 2 matches on table 2. So the next match, which will start shortly on the Matchroom Multisport YouTube channel, is Mark Selby against Robert Milkins.
Chance of cutting a red in here into the right hand corner pocket, but he just needs to be careful that the cue ball doesn't cannon the yellow. Played it with a lot of check side because of that, which made the pot more unlikely. But just look where he's put the cue ball there, exactly where it was previously, virtually exactly where it was, a little further off the bolt cushion, but he's blocked off that red that's close to the yellow. Oh, what a pot that is. Again.
One.
Not not a particularly gratuitous kiss. Is he taking the brown on? This is a bold shot choice. Oh, dear me. Played it as though it meant nothing, and that's what Ronnie O'Sullivan's always been able to do. Just play with a degree of freedom that nobody else seems to ever play with. It's incredible, really. So it reminds me, many years ago I was practicing with him in a China event, and he was struggling a little bit, and I said to Ronnie, I said, do you want to practice on your own? Because I thought, well, you know, he's struggling a bit. He says, no, don't worry. I said, if you hit them right, they'll go there. And I thought, you know, that's a great attitude to have.
10.
Yeah, I mean, look,
11.
he's an enigma that's not easy to unravel, but I think part of it is he's come closer than anyone to mastering snooker, but he feels he hasn't mastered it, so he's still looking to. You know, he's working with Lee Walker at the moment. That's a new direction to go in. Even this late in his career, he's looking for ways to still have marginal improvements, which shows he still wants to be competitive. Quite often he says, I'm not bothered about winning and losing. He clearly is. And that applies as much today as any other day. He's here, yes, for good practice, but he doesn't want to lose all his matches. That's not a lot of use in that. So this is his best chance so far to put something together after that terrific brown.
$22. $23.
Cue ball's travelled too far for his intended red to left corner.
$29.
On this occasion, not far enough for the blue. Now to take the cue ball all around the table for his next red, unless he decides to play green or brown.
$34. $35.
Wakelin's had 4 days on this table, but O'Sullivan is so good at just adapting to conditions, working out a table very quickly.
40. $41.
Another thing that you'll notice with Ronnie as well, a couple of things. Firstly, he doesn't use the modern chalk that most of the players are using these days, so Ronnie does suffer kicks on occasion, but he very rarely gets the cue ball cleaned.
$46. $47.
Play for the blue from right centre, but he's landed perfectly on it to the corner. That's what I'm saying about Ronnie, you know, he can reel off frames in no time at all.
52.
It'd be 2-all with Ronnie O'Sullivan, and
53.
15 minutes before you were 2-0 up.
Yeah, I'm sure it can feel sort of like an express train coming for you at times, and he did that several times last season. He had a great season, didn't he? You know, and times when he's in trouble in matches and just produced these bursts. Ali Carter will tell you about that, of course, the Masters final, second session, when he turned that round.
$60.
Well, the red actually is frame ball. Oh, brilliant. So
61.
out of nowhere, he's gone from a sort of 2 out of 10 performance to sort of 8 or 9. Terrific break this to keep it going. The brown early on, that red should have won him the frame.
$68. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 68.
Wakelin is
On the
not going to
frame.
get out of his seat. So a swift 68. Ronnie O'Sullivan wins his first frame, and he cuts the deficit to 2-1. Ronnie O'Sullivan with a swift 68. Candy for the third frame there. So he trails Chris Wakelin 2-1. It's best of 5. Wakelin still needs 1.
Thank you.
You get a point for a win. And
Chris
the table is
Wakelin
decided
again.
first on points. It's then on most frames won, then least frames lost. If 2 players are tied, it's the result between them that decides the placings. Remember, if you finish bottom 2, you're relegated. 5th place, or if you lose in the playoffs, you come back for the next group. O'Sullivan, I suspect, wouldn't come back for the next group because he's playing Sunday afternoon, isn't he, in London? So you can't blame him for not being here Friday, Saturday.
That's more of a misjudgment than anything for Ron. He played that with side spin to come around the back of the black and probably expected the cue ball to react differently on the cloth. Oh, it's a good
Well,
red from Chris Wakelin, so he's first in here in the 4th frame. A chance to score heavily and win the match 3-1.
Yeah, and let's be honest, in this company, getting any points, you know, is hard work. There's Selby, there's Karen Wilson, all the rest as well. So he should be valuable, but he's missed that. Wow. That was unexpected.
8. One.
There is definitely something different about playing O'Sullivan. We've seen it with other top players. There's a lot of really established players who struggle to beat him. And it's interesting, you look at a player like Alexander Ursenbacher, who's, you know, quite low down the rankings,
3.
but he's beaten him 3 times. So, for whatever reason, he managed to settle that aside, but not everyone can do that, including, as I say, big name players.
4.
3 out of 3, I think. Yeah. I remember years ago, Stephen Hendry could never beat Mark Johnson Allen, could he? He beat him 3 times also.
Just developed a couple more reds there, so scoring chance that might not have come for O'Sullivan to level at 2-2.
11.
Robert Milkins has won the opening frame against Mark Selby on table 2. That's the last match of that session.
18. 19.
'm sure it's rather intimidating for some of the referees as well. We have to referee Ronnie
26.
O'Sullivan. He's a very
27.
forceful character. The same way decades before Alex Higgins was.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. I remember a few years ago, the Champion of Champions, Paul Collier, who's actually tournament director here, refereed him, and I was watching Paul, and
34.
if you want to know how to referee Ronnie, you just watch the way Paul did it, because you have to anticipate. He's a quick player.
35.
You know, you have to anticipate where you need to be. You can't be sort of dawdling around the table. Paul, he's played snooker and knows it inside out. Was just excellent at being in the right spot, and that's why I think Ronnie respects him so much. Just doesn't get in the way, does the job.
42.
Alex Higgins once complained to a referee
43.
that he was in his line of thought. Not line of sight, line of thought.
And already Ronnie O'Sullivan nearing
50.
the winning line. This is, oh, I see, that was a good
51.
effort to try and bring a couple of reds into play whilst maintaining position on the black. Delicate cannon played. Could have played it with a little bit more side spin, but then missing the black would have been
58.
more of a possibility. A
59.
beautiful ball strike though. Well, there is a red to the left centre available for Ronnie. He can play it into the right corner as well. Exactly what I was wondering might happen. It's given 10 or 15 minutes play, Ronnie could reel off a couple of
66.
frames.
$67.
Yeah, Wakelin had the chance early in the frame. Chance is gone. He already needs a snooker.
70. 71. 77.
So a chance to make his first
78.
century of 2025. Made 15 this season. It's fewer than a lot of the players because he hasn't played in as many events.
$85. 86.
'Wakelin
92.
learning the hard way. This is what can happen
Sorry. 94.
if you don't take your chance. O'Sullivan was nowhere for 2 frames, but he's levelled up in style. Black for the century. Burst of the year for the Rocket.
$101. 103. 106. 110.
'Of course, there is a high break prize in the group,
115.
£500. Jack Jones won that with the maximum in Group 2. main thing is he's found a bit of form here. Could have been over.
121.
Wakelin had the chance to win 3-1, albeit an early one, but it went wrong early. And O'Sullivan has done the rest. Clearance of 128 from the 7 times world champion, Ronnie O'Sullivan, to level the match at 2-2. Two, one more frame to come. O'Sullivan with 128 there. Mark Selby had 2 centuries earlier. Karen Wilson one as well, but the 128 the highest so far. So it hasn't taken long for this to turn round. Wakelin in early control at 2-0. O'Sullivan has fought back. Let's see if he can get the point here. On the other table, it's still 1-0 to Robert Milkins over Mark Selby. That's actually the last match of the session. On this table, O'Sullivan will stay on to play the world champion Karen Wilson. Found the gap through the reds with the cue ball. Just wanted to avoid the green though. Get the white to the cushion.
One.
Well, that's a terrific pot. It made a difference, O'Sullivan catching the green. Left that potable, but it was still not only a great pot, but control for position on black as well.
Eight.
So let's see how far he gets this time, because of course he had the first chance in frame 4.
9. $16. 17. Three.
Well, the pink going up on the green spot
24.
changes things a little. Because the black isn't available into the left corner, Chris is having to do a little bit more work now to keep this break going.
Nine.
I'm mistaken, the black must pot into the left corner. Just a little surprised then that previously he screwed up for the blue, but this is absolutely perfect. So in potting the black, if Chris can cannon the red directly above it, he should be on the red. It's just to the left of the black as we look. That will do very nicely. He can't hold for the black from this red, but just shoved a couple into open play, and he can easily stun up for the blue.
38.
Well, it's shaping up to be
43.
a real frame-winning chance, match-winning chance. To say O'Sullivan's safety actually was pretty effective. He just caught that green,
44.
which did leave the chance at the long red, but it was still a great pot, not just to pop the red, but hold for the black as well. I think the thing with snooker, these guys are so good
51.
that when the standard does drop, it's so noticeable. We're almost used to them playing this well because they're that good at the game. But really, we shouldn't take it for granted.
52.
Was a much more difficult pot than it may have seemed. He had to play it with a lot of top spin on the right hand side on the cue ball.
This has been an excellent break, and he needs 2 more pots to make it into a match-winning one. So O'Sullivan put the pressure on, made that 1-2-8 in frame 4. It's coming back at him, but Chris Wakelin, and this is the new Chris Wakelin, isn't it? This is what he does now. He responds.
67.
This red for victory. Very impressive, that. Just needed one
68.
chance. That'll make him feel good. Any win over Ronnie O'Sullivan is worth celebrating, but the manner in which he won it, having lost his 2-frame lead, to take it out in one visit, very impressive.
73. $74.
Only remains to be seen whether Wakelin can make a century of his own.
81.
Still plenty on, isn't there? 59 still available, so a possible 140. That would be an excellent target for the high break.
82.
He's looked very cool taking these as Chris Wakelin.
Yes, he could derive a lot of confidence from a win such as this. He was tested by Ronnie O'Sullivan, came back to him strongly.
90.
Well, what a way to win it for Chris Wakelin. With a century break of his own, it's his 3rd of the Championship League this year, his 17th of the season. And a very satisfying one, just needed one chance. And as I say, O'Sullivan didn't do much wrong, really. He's aware of the high break price, I'm sure, Chris. He's played enough of the Championship League to know about it, so he's just left this a bit awkward, this black. He knows he can post a big target here. The black stays out, but the win's the most important thing. A break of 106 to take the decider against Ronnie O'Sullivan and to take the point from this match. So Chris Wakelin beats Ronnie O'Sullivan 3-2. Coming up in a few minutes' time, O'Sullivan returns to the table to play the world champion, Karen Wilson.